Right, we're at the Effie Stadium with Wellintown manager Kevin Oakes after a 1-0 defeat to Lordswood. Kev, I thought we were better in the first half than the second. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably. I think the way our luck's going at the minute when we're chasing games, we panic a little bit. Not just the players, maybe us on the sidelines as well. First half, I don't think it was very pretty. I think with NA up front, he's a big guy, but he's not just a big guy, he's a good footballer. I think it's a bit too easy and a bit too cheap to just play direct. I don't think that suits us. I think we need to be more confident in ourselves and our teammates to get the ball down and play football. And I've said from day one, I'm not going to criticise anybody for trying to do the right thing. If people make mistakes, you can tolerate that. But I think it's just a bit cheap to just play a bit too direct. It's not pretty to watch. It's not effective either, frankly. So, yeah, I think we mentioned that when there was a very, very long stoppage in the game. We had a quick discussion about that. The last 5 minutes of the first half, we created more in that 5 minutes than we did in the whole of the previous 40. Second half, as soon as we go behind, maybe slightly against the run of play, as soon as we go behind, there just seems to be this panic, of, oh, we're behind, we need to run around like lunatics, and everybody trying to do each other's jobs and losing our shape and losing our discipline. And I just said to the lads there, it's very commendable that there are certain people absolutely sweating their guts out for the team, running around like lunatics, but the ball moves a lot quicker than you do, and if you just stay in the positions that you're meant to be in and move the ball about, don't have to make life easier for yourself. So yeah, at the moment I think it's self-inflicted, but we all take collective responsibility for that.
You made a few changes today, Kev. Any reasons for that? Injuries, suspensions?
Again, I've said from day one, big squad, all this sort of COVID nonsense. I'd rather have too many players to pick from than not enough. But we are getting to a point now where we're not making excuses for performances. I won't tolerate that. We're making excuses for people not being available. And I cannot dictate who and who doesn't turn up to training and matches. And frankly, there are more people than I would like that are taking a piss to some extent about selective availability. And when you do see people, part of that's on me because I sign them up, but things like communication and availability and some of the excuses coming out for training and for matches is not on, and that's part of the reason why we're in this problem. And you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And if people want to be successful in life, if you're not prepared to turn up, you're not prepared to put the hard work in, and you're going to be part-time and turn up when you feel like it, don't be surprised when you get beat or you get no luck. So I think myself and the rest of the management team need to have a serious conversation with certain individuals at the moment that I don't think are pulling their weight, and that just adds to the frustration that when you do see people like Alex Nelson absolutely sweating his guts out, where you've got to cut his shirt off him at the end of the game where he's so drenched in sweat, to know that there's other people having a bit of a jolly up. I'm sure a lot of those people will be very quick to be available for a nice coach journey next week and a bit of a freebie. Well, don't work like that. You can't take all the good times if you're not prepared to roll your sleeves up and work hard every single week. It's not a team, that's a collection of individuals. So there's going to be some awkward conversations in the next 24 hours, I think, but it needs to be done, it needs to be said for us to move on and upwards from this. I'm still very, very confident that the quality that we have in the dressing room is there. But if the commitment level isn't there, some questions need to be answered, and I can't provide those answers, but I'll certainly be asking the questions.
One of the longest first halves I've ever seen, Kev.
Yeah.
We had a really nasty incident here with young Dylan in the first half where he got shoved into
a better view of that than me.
Yeah, into the pole. And then we had a nasty incident over there with the linesman. First of all, do we know if the linesman okay? I saw Dylan's okay, thankfully, but is the linesman okay?
Yeah, Dylan, first of all, it's on the far side of the pitch to me, so I couldn't really tell. I turned my back ever so slightly to speak to one of my colleagues, and next thing you know, he's on the ground. The lads have said that he's hit his head on the concrete, and he's been pushed. Having not seen it, the only crumb of comfort I can take is that his dad, who was pretty much sitting right in front of him, didn't panic. So if his dad thought he was all right, he's soon back on the pitch, which is good.
And he played well today. Had a good game, Dylan.
He did, yeah. I mean, he's only just turned 17.
They were trying to target him, weren't they, Kevin, in the first half? A lot of long balls coming down past him.
Well, you look at him and you think, you know, he's a bit of a baby face and everything. You think, oh yeah, you know, he's only filling in. No, he's not filling in at all. He's here on merit. He's a very, very good player, and you know, in 3-4 years' time, he's still going to be under 21, and he's only going to improve. And his attitude is absolutely spot on. So yeah, we're very lucky to have him. He's a good lad. Fully deserves his opportunity. And then the incident with the lino, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that he's obviously seriously hurt himself, it's, you know, it'd be comical otherwise.
I think the ball, I didn't see what happened. Did you know what happened?
Yeah, I did.
Did he trip over? Did he?
He's running down the line, and it's a combination of sort of twisting his ankle, tripping over his own feet, and he's gone down a bit like Norman Wisdom and twisted his knee and hit the ground quite hard, nearly knocked himself out, nearly impaled himself on his corner flag and linesman flag. Yeah, so
other than that, it's okay.
Yeah, wish him well. Obviously, he couldn't carry on, and then we had a little bit of
there was a
guns at
5
dawn
minutes
about.
in. What was going on there? I think it was their manager, it was the ref, it was the assessor, you. What kind of things were being talked about there?
My understanding, and obviously with my sort of chairman hat on, getting all the boring emails and league rules and everything, my understanding is that there needs to be a mutual agreement between both clubs. Naturally, when there's only an attendance of about 40 or 50 at the game, you're not going to get an awful lot of neutrals, and the ones that you do are normally the wrong age of wrong side of 70. So there was a bit of a debate. Interesting from my point of view, which I think is really, really poor, is that there is a qualified referee here with a clipboard assessing the referee. It's not his fault personally, but to have a qualified referee in the ground who is, for some bizarre reason, not able to step in, I think is frankly a disgrace for what clubs at this level have to put their hand in their pocket for. We will get a fine for something today that I'm not prepared to put on camera, because I'm hoping by some miracle it may go undetected, but we will get a fine today for something that I consider trivial. Yet the really, really important stuff, like having 3 match officials. And then thankfully we've had to ask, after Lordswood, maybe rightly, you know, refusing to let one of our guys do it. I can't say I blame them. And with nobody else, Sam McNeil, Kent Football United, sort of one of their officials has agreed to step in, and even then there was a question mark as to whether people were going to be happy with it. Yeah, I mean, thankfully that's not changed the game at all. But I just find it a bit bizarre that.
Do you think that if that happens, there's an assessor at the game and there's no one else the assessor should run the line then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I said to him at the time, jokingly, you know, what better way to assess the referee than to sort of muck in and, you know, be in there in the trenches with him. But yeah, I say it's nothing on him personally, but I think maybe not league rules, FA rules. I think common sense maybe needs to apply. It's a very unusual situation, but you know, there's got to be a better solution than getting a neutral where, you know, Sam knows what he's doing, but you know, we could have just plucked a 15-year-old kid out of the crowd and got him to run the line.
Well, Dylan was in the crowd in the first half. He probably could have done it. Kev, the second half, I thought even before they scored, if they were any deeper, they'd have been wearing flippers and snorkels. But we couldn't open them up, could we? And I mean, the goal was a bad goal to concede. And they were hitting us with just simple balls through the middle, weren't they? And they were opening us up. I know we were going forward, and were we trying to walk the ball in, Kev? Were we over-committing?
Yeah, disappointing decision-making for me. I don't want to name names, it'd be harsh, but I think everybody needs to take a serious look at themselves and analyse their own performance and their decision-making, because we've got people that are working very hard but in wrong areas, and we've got people that are unbelievable on the ball when they're beating players for fun, and then when it gets into the penalty area and you go pass, cross or shoot, that they always seem to pick the wrong one, which is frustrating. And the run that we're on, similar probably to the run that Lords would have been on, as soon as you get your nose in front, and we do exactly the same, as soon as you get your nose in front and you've not been getting the rub of the green, you are going to slow the game down, appeal for everything, launch the ball out of the ground, and all them other little gamesmanships. And I say it's not a criticism, we do exactly the same. 99 teams out of 100 would do it. You make your own luck sometimes, and if we keep giving people head starts, they're going to keep using those tactics. It would be nice if the boot were on the other foot.
Actually, no Taylor suspended. Last game, I believe, he was his suspension today.
Yeah, I mean, again, with our season being stop-start, you know, Taylor got a red card 5 weeks ago. It'll be another week. Obviously he's back now, but it's 7 days to our next game. So yeah, he's sat out 6 weeks of the opening 7 weeks of the season, which is ridiculous. Doesn't help that we've been playing. I think today is maybe our 13th game if you include friendlies, 12th, 13th game. Pretty much all of them away. None of these things are excuses.
Is that hard though, Kev, having to play all of these away games? I mean, we had one game at home today. It's the first time you've seen the pitch, and I know you've been here before, but it's the first time the players have probably been on the pitch. Is it hard playing all these away games?
Yeah, of course, it could be a lot easier, but that doesn't excuse when you're in the 6-yard box, cross it, pass or shoot. It's not because you played away from home 3 weeks ago. No. And at some point we're going to have a run of home games and it's all going to come back to us. We need to wise up. I think there's a bit of naivety and a bit of panic. There doesn't need to be. I'm pretty sure Arsenal are going to finish bottom of the league this season, as much as I think they're terrible. I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be down there fighting for our lives. I mean, we will be if we carry on the way we're going, but we'll turn that corner because we've got smart enough men and smart enough good footballers that they will turn that corner, and the ones that don't, well, they'll have a shelf life like they do at every club.
Most of the games this year we played well in parts, and some of the games we played well for a whole game, and we start thinking we're unlucky the first wins around the corner. Today you've been looking at 3 points at home against Lordswood and it hasn't come.
Yeah.
Has that changed the mentality between you and the other management, do you think, now moving on to the next game?
No, not really. I think you probably play 45 or 50 games this season. We've played 4. Don't think there's really any reason to panic. Don't get me wrong, I'm not happy, and I'm not a ranter and a raver, and I don't shout in any sort of situation. I'm not going to start shouting now, that's not in my nature. But the problems will be addressed, and Grads and Ben do far more on the tactical and the technical side than I do, and I know that they've the utmost faith in all of the lads in the dressing room as well, but they've got to take on board what's being said to them, and more importantly, actions speak louder than words. So little bit of a free hit next week. We're not going to win the FA Vase, let's be honest. Away.
But one step 5 club is, Kev.
Yeah, but let's keep ourselves grounded. We go into next week. There will be some changes in personnel. I think there are certain individuals now that have had enough opportunities, and it's not reactive. We're not going to judge people on one performance, good or bad. But I think
you see players moving out, Kev, or just
we've got a couple of 7 days for people that we're looking to add. But obviously, I'm not going to name any names. But there's a couple of 7 days that are in that were in before today. So
you brought one in, of course, for this game.
Yeah.
A little bit about the new signing.
Lenny's been at Rustle for 3 years. 22. Centre half or holding midfielder. His natural game is probably centre half. We've got some very, very good centre halves, lots of people competing, so we've asked him to do a job in holding midfield today because of the lack of availability of certain other individuals and us wanting to change our shape a little bit today. I thought he did well considering that he's still getting to know the lads and maybe playing in a role that he hasn't played for quite some time. He'll grow into that.
Is he eligible for Saturday?
Yeah, FA Vase hasn't started yet, so he's as eligible as everybody else. Going to be some tough decisions because I know that there's going to be potentially definitely one, and potentially 2 that will be joining us. That is naturally going to mean that 1 or 2 probably move out. There are 2 that are now back to fitness in Goldin and Johan, which will be like 2 new signings. There's a return of Taylor from suspension, who all pre-season has been absolutely prolific, and we can have a bit of a jolly up on the coach next week, but let's hope we're doing it because we've finally got that win, and I'm sure the way that we're playing, once we get that win and we get that confidence, that we'll be flying, no doubt that at all.
Do you attribute the last 2 or 3 games to the fact that Goldin and Taylor have been missing?
Yeah, I mean Goldin's reputation at his level is unprecedented. Taylor scored more goals in pre-season than everybody else added together. They're a big loss. I mean the people that have replaced them are more than capable individuals, but any team at this level is going to miss Ryan Goldin, and Taylor's a hidden gem. He's brilliant in terms of his work rate and his attitude. he wants to win in the warm up. Having them back will be a shot in the arm for everybody. And I don't think, frankly, if they both walk into the side next Saturday, I don't think there are many other people that could have any complaints.
Kev, thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you Saturday.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks, mate.